What's up people, it's Wasabi and I'm back with another review. This video is not sponsored, and as always with the content on this channel, these are my thoughts, personal opinions and experiences with the product. And today we have the Razer DeathAdder V3 HyperSpeed. But before we get on with the review, here's a quick look at the packaging because that's what you pay for too. Razer has been changing up their packaging with the recent releases, and the packaging here is just as great and very presentable. First, you got the DeathAdder V3 HyperSpeed, a PVC insulated USB-C cable, the HyperSpeed wireless receiver and the adapter, an instruction manual, and of course, as usual, a set of Razer stickers. And that's pretty much all that's included inside the box. Now, before I go any further, let's manage some expectations here real quick. Today, we have the DeathAdder V3 HyperSpeed, and for people who are unfamiliar with Razer's DeathAdder, it's pretty much their best-selling ergonomic mouse. And the DeathAdder V3 Pro was launched back in the mid of August 2022. Yeah, that sounds about right. Quite some time ago, and surprisingly, we are just seeing the HyperSpeed version of the DeathAdder V3 2 years later. Anyway, the biggest deal about this release is that it's a smaller DeathAdder, and this is exactly what I wanted in a DeathAdder, said nobody. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself, but that's the first thing that came to my head when I saw the product page. But seriously, a lot of gamers have been wanting a smaller DeathAdder V3 Pro, and this HyperSpeed isn't a Pro, but I can see a lot of people are going to find a lot more value with this version for the price. Designed as a right-handed ergonomic shape for palm and claw grip users, this HyperSpeed version of the DeathAdder V3 weighs in at 55 grams, which is lighter than the Pro version and comes in at a price of about $100. Well, the design is pretty much identical to the DeathAdder V3 Pro, which I felt is a good-looking mouse. But there are two big differences with the design of the V3 HyperSpeed. First is the size, and this is shrunken down compared to the V3 Pro, which is fantastic news for gamers with smaller hand sizes, or gamers who just prefer smaller mice, and it's pretty common today. Secondly, it's the skate design. This has larger mouse skates, which was first introduced with the Viper V3 Pro. They are not exactly the same skates, by the way. The ones here look a little different. And another small change in the design is that you'll notice there is a little slot for you to keep the USB wireless receiver, which is very convenient. Other than that, it looks exactly like what you would imagine a smaller DeathAdder to be, and that's totally fine. Build quality, I gotta say, this is the best on any DeathAdder I've used before. Mouse is solid, there's no creaking anywhere, all buttons and even the scroll wheel are very well fitted in. Pretty much everything feels tight, which is a great improvement over their past releases. The Viper V3 Pro that was launched before this one had one of the best builds on any Razer mouse, and I do hope they keep it up with all their future products. Now, before I get into more detail with the shape and how it feels from my experience, to put things into perspective, my hand size is 17.5 by 9. The shape is very much a smaller size of the DeathAdder V3 Pro. And if you ever felt that that mouse was too big, well, this one would feel much better. The hump doesn't peak up excessively at an angle. The shape slopes down to the right and towards the back quite gently, and I find myself just comfortably resting my hand on the mouse. It's not as sculpted as some of the other ergos you'll find on the market today, so it doesn't feel like it fits me like a glove. This shape feels more general in the hand, which in a way is good because then more gamers can use it. The size is very nice for a DeathAdder shape, and I just wish that they did this sooner. However, the sides are noticeable and feel uncomfortable if you grip your mouse with your ring and pinky finger extended. But overall, the change in proportions is really something for gamers who wanted to use a DeathAdder V3 Pro but just found it way too big. Now here's the reference to help people visualize the different grip styles on the DeathAdder V3 HyperSpeed with reference to my hand size. The regular claw grip and relaxed claw grip feels great for me here, but the aggressive claw grip not so much. Even with this smaller size, I feel an aggressive claw grip is too much of an angle for my hand size to use comfortably. The palm grip feels so good here, but the one thing that makes me use a relaxed claw grip over a palm grip are the side flares, and even in this size, the side flares make it feel rather awkward. For me personally, I would not use a mouse like this for a fingertip grip style unless you have large hands, and you can try to make it work, but the rear sticks out towards the left, which leaves almost no room to navigate the mouse within my hand. Stated weight on the website is 55 grams, and with my unit, this comes in at 53.4 grams without the USB dongle and 54.8 with the dongle. And fun fact, it's lighter than both the DeathAdder V3 Pro and the DeathAdder V3 wired version. The experience of having a coating on the DeathAdder is night and day for me, especially with a palm grip, because that is when you rely on full contact of your hand on the mouse, and having a coating like this gives you the confidence even when when your hands get sweaty. It isn't the finest coating on a mouse if you look closely, but at this price, what's important is that it grips well and feels good, which it does. You have Razer's optical mouse switches Gen 3 in this DeathAdder, which are the same switches they use in Pro versions of the mice. Razer's optical switches have never been a favorite of mine because of the way they sound and feel. Here in the DeathAdder V3 HyperSpeed, they feel a little tighter with a moderate amount of pressure to actuate, and they sound a little quieter as well, but a little more solid at the same time in this smaller build than the DeathAdder V3 Pro. And on the crispy meter with the way they sound and feel, I would put them right about here. The side buttons are spaced apart. These are still very large as with all DeathAdders, which is something that I like, because when I play Overwatch, my crouch button and melee are assigned to them. There is an angle to the bottom of the side buttons, and this makes sliding your thumb up a lot more comfortable. Great quality feeling side buttons here with almost no pre-travel and a touch of post-travel towards the end. They sort of remind me of the ones on the Viper V3 HyperSpeed, which for me was one of the best feeling side buttons on any Razer mouse. The scroll wheel feels very sturdy and have been great to use. Steps are very distinct. I personally like the design of it and how it curves on the sides like a wheel. It's the same style as the DeathAdder V3 Pro, just that here it's seated a little lower into the mouse. The rip pattern is nice, but it's a hard rubber, so this will feel a little slippery when you first use it, but it does get grippier over time. This has Razer's Focus X 26K optical sensor. It's a variation of the POR 3395, which you'll find on most high-performance gaming mice today. This was worked together with Pixar to create this Focus X sensor. The specs are not as good as the Focus Pro 30K optical sensor on the Pro version, but to be honest, you probably won't feel much of a difference. With the wireless receiver included in the box, the highest wireless polling rate you can use is 1000 Hz. This has the tech for 8000 Hz wireless polling rate, but you will need to purchase what they call a hyper-polling wireless dongle for $30. And this is a Razer exclusive, so you can only get it from the official website or the official retail store. Do you need it? I would say no, but if this is a mouse that will be your last for a long time, I'd say okay, get it for the full tech experience. Connectivity-wise, you can use this mouse wirelessly or wired, but just note that the cable that it comes with is a PVC insulated cable, so it's not as flexible as the paracord braided cables that come with the Pro versions. Just like with all Razer products, this uses Razer Synapse software, same old Razer Synapse. So on the software, you can reprogram your buttons, set your DPI, set up different profiles for the mouse. Smart tracking is always on, and it keeps the lift-off distance consistent across all surfaces. You can adjust your polling rate. Here you can see I can select the 8000 Hz wireless option because I have the mouse connected to the hyper-polling wireless dongle, which is a paid accessory. Lift-off distance is limited to two options. You got 1mm and 2mm distances. What's new is that we have two features being introduced with the launch of this mouse. First is a new dynamic sensitivity feature that pretty much works like Windows mouse acceleration, but here it lets you get a little creative. You can do some pretty cool things, like for example the jump setting. While with slow movements, you can use the mouse as per normal, and doing a quick swipe or quick sudden motion will trigger a 180 turn. I think it's a pretty interesting feature that low mouse sensitivity users can benefit from, and you can even customize the parameters to your liking. The second feature is called rotation, and because different gamers hold their mouse at different angles, this allows you to reorientate the sensor angle to the true front of your mouse. Though personally, these are not features I would use, but it's really good that Razer is adding new features for different gamers. With the DeathAdder V3 HyperSpeed, you can go up to 100 hours at 1000 Hz wireless polling rate and up to 20 hours at 8000 if you have the hyper-polling wireless dongle, which again is not included. This has large mouse feet, which seems to be the direction Razer is going with their new mice. The quality of the skates here seems to be different from the ones on the DeathAdder V3 Pro and Viper V3 Pro. These have a lighter shade of grey, and they are a little on the scratchier side, and glides feel decent but feels rather dry until you break them in. Personally, I prefer the ones on the Pro version of their mice, which feel a lot smoother from the get-go. The sensor on this mouse has been perfect performing flawlessly. This mouse has been feeling great for gaming and daily use. Stable wireless connectivity as always with Razer's wireless tech, and it's just been a really nice experience using a mouse that feels this solid. If you're torn between this and the DeathAdder V3 Pro, I would choose based on size, because with ergonomic mice, you want the most comfort out of the shape. Performance-wise, the Pro version has a more advanced sensor, but to be frank, I don't feel the difference between the two, and the extra functions like asymmetric cutoff are things that I would not use. So in conclusion, what are 3 things I like about this mouse? First is the size, and this is more personal for me because I found the V3 Pro to be too big for my hand size and I had to adapt to it, which always felt like I'm losing out because I don't get the full benefits of the ergonomic design, so this is nice for me. The second thing is the price, and while it's not a budget mouse, it's still not as expensive as the Pro version. You got all the performance and an even better quality mouse than the more expensive one, and for $100, it's within the price range of most new ergonomic mice. The thing about Razer products that put many people off is the price for the product quality, and this mouse pretty much addresses both of these things. And the last thing, like I mentioned before, is the build quality. This is proper build quality that you should expect from a big brand, and truth is, for many years, products from not just Razer always felt like they fell far from expectations with the quality. And this here is more than just a slight improvement, which I'm very glad to see. So what are 3 things I feel could be improved with this mouse? Well, there's really not much I would ask for considering the quality and performance you get for the price it's going for. But for the shape when the DeathAdder V4 comes out, I do hope they get rid of or find some way to work out the side flares. Because while it does look cool in a way and it's been part of the DeathAdder identity since the first one, I still feel like it's a hindrance to enjoying the full comfort of using a palm grip. But as always, these are some of my thoughts, personal opinions, and experiences with the mouse. Now, final thoughts and what I think of its value. Well, this is pretty much a DeathAdder V3 in a smaller size. There's nothing revolutionary or mind-blowing, so to speak. But finally, a DeathAdder that gamers with smaller hand sizes can get the full experience from the shape. It's a really nice offering at $100 that ticks a lot of boxes from what gamers expect from a mouse today, but don't get me wrong, this isn't a budget mouse. But with its great performance and fantastic build quality, it's very good value. Personally, I would wait for the DeathAdder V4 Pro if you need a new ergonomic mouse right now, but I have no problems recommending this one. I just hope that Razer would consider releasing this size along with the regular one for the launch of the V4. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, please leave a like and subscribe to support the channel, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.